Welcome to Shop Talks, which is a presentation of Los Angeles Apparel, Alpha Broder as sponsors. That's why this information is for free. Stalls, Transfer Express, LAT Apparel, Lane 7, Howard Custom Transfers, and Hirsch. And I have Ed Levy from Hirsch here. I'm from In Kitchen. Check out our YouTube channel. We are going to talk about Coloreel today, which I think is the most advanced system, technology, whatever you want to call it, that I've seen in the last few years. So I'm pretty excited to talk about it. We got a video we're going to play in a loop over there, which you can check out. All right, Ed is the technology director. Is that your title?
That's right, Director of Software Technology at Hirsch Solutions.
So it's your pleasure, I guess, to work with Coloreel. You want to describe a little what Coloreel is to start with?
Absolutely. So Coloreel is an instant thread dyeing process. It actually sublimates the thread, and it takes a single cone of recycled polyester and dyes it, dries it, lubricates it, and passes it through to the embroidery machine. So you have no color changes, you have no thread inventory, things like that.
So no thread inventory for, I mean, even for a medium shop like me, we probably have $25,000 worth of thread at least, right? 50,
Right.
25 to 50,000.
Right. You'll still consume thread, obviously, it's
Right.
part of the process, but at least you'll never have to worry about getting a job and not having a particular color in stock.
So the speed must be great because you don't have any stopping for even automatic cutting, right? And less labor, because even automatic thread cutting involves some trimming, right?
Right.
So auto trim is not necessary, right?
You still have trimming when it's necessary. So, for example, in between characters of letters, things like that. Anywhere you would normally intentionally want to trim, you'll still have trims there. You won't have the color changes, and the other huge advantage is the back side of the garment, where you have all the strands of threads and the knots from lock stitches, things like that. You don't have that anymore. It's all nice and smooth. So the feel on the back side is unbelievable. So this jacket was done just with a single color of thread. And notice the blending that you can get. I mean, it's unbelievable, the quality of the blending. It's true blending, where with the digitizing process, you can only get so close to blending because threads lay on top of each other. They don't melt into each other for the blending process. So with this, it just changes the game, especially from the blending process.
Want to take a look at it? So do you need special software or add-ons to your software, like the typical software like Pulse that people might use? Is there like plugins or something that allow you to digitize for those kind of blends?
So you would digitize a little differently. You digitize everything as one color, basically. And then the software that comes with the Coloreel unit, it's the Coloreel Studio, that colorizes it for you. It's almost like a film strip editing mode, where you slide through the stitches and basically you say, okay, from stitch 1 to stitch 250, I want this color. And what's really neat is you can change the color on the fly. So same digitizing, you just have all these different effects, and then you can have built-in effects. So you have a St. Patrick's Day pattern, or you have a 4th of July pattern, or you know, some type of state flag pattern, or things like that.
So are people actually buying now like a machine that only has space for one thread? That's it? Like, are they buying machines like that, or sometimes they add a metallic or something? You
would actually still use other needles, as you said, so thin weight thread, thick threads, metallics, things like that. So it's not an all or nothing process. You can still mix and match the technology. Here's a design that, if you hold one up, I can hold the other. Here's one, just same design, just two different color schemes. And again, the backside is really where the magic is, because you can see how clean it is. So we
Pretty
can go
amazing.
ahead and pass that around.
And how long's this been around? What's the
Coloreel's we've been actively involved in Coloreel for about 4 years. Coloreel is
So you're not really a guinea pig if you got it. It's
no.
working.
Coloreel started 10 to 12 years ago and has gone through the majority of that time in research and development, prototyping, things like that, so that when it did hit the market, it was in a very good state, very stable.
It's from Sweden, right?
It's from Sweden.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
Amazing.
And you just notice the blending in it. I mean, it really
You could never accomplish
changes.
that traditionally, right? Like those
Never.
kind of gradients.
never.
Amazing.
And I think that's the key with the Coloreel process is its ability to unleash creativity.
Right.
Personally, and I wouldn't use it just to replace a normal corporate logo and to try and save on thread changes, things like that. The true magic with it is in the creativity, the uniqueness that you bring to the market, the ability. Right now, I mean, there's about 180 to 200 Coloreel units in the field worldwide. So you set yourself up in a position to be really unique. That you produce something like this, the customer's not going down the street trying to find a better price and and trying to see who else can produce it. You're really in a unique spot.
So any limitations of it really over traditional sewing?
The primary limitation, and it's almost a limitation by design, is the fact that the colorizing process is happening about 2 feet, 3 feet from the actual needle. So that means there's a little bit of a margin for variance. There's a stitch counter as part of the machine that keeps it in sync with the embroidery machine. So we're very successful with staying within 2 to 5 stitches overall of accuracy.
And then what's the speed that you can accomplish?
Whatever the machine is.
Really? Wow.
whatever
So it
the
can keep
machine's
up
running.
if you go up to 800 or 1,000?
We were running at 1,000 here earlier.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
the snake design on the hat was run at 1,000.
So I'm just kind of blown away by this, honestly. It's like really a game changer. I mean, it's not often, especially something as primitive as embroidery has been. Like, it's not that long ago there was paper tapes.
Right.
Where, like, it was called punching, and a paper tape would run a machine. That was like only 20, 25 years ago, right?
Right.
And so now you're talking about just an entirely different technology. That's kind of amazing.
It's truly a game changer, and so there's CMYK process, and the thread goes in from the back. It gets colorized, it gets dry, cured, and then it gets lubricated, and then comes out to the embroidery
And
machine.
so it's sublimated, so it's really like, it's not a coating, it's actually in the thread.
It's in the fibers.
Right? Just
It's
like you
in
would
the
sublimate a
fibers of the
shirt,
thread,
right?
yes.
It's in there. So there's no feel change to it either,
no
right?
feel change. It has washability, durability. It'll outlast the garment, just like a normal sublimation would.
Unbelievable. All right, anything else you want to say about it, or should we just have some questions? It's amazing, like something this creative is that simple in a way.
Right.
It's really not complicated. It's the complicated part was done in the research, not in the application, right?
Right. And we're running it at the show here, and we're right at the front door. Can't miss it. It's just amazing. I mean, people stop and are in awe of it.
No, the first time I saw it, I was like, "What? This is insane." Anyway.
I mean, one of the common questions is how much.
Oh, right.
So, I mean, it's about $33,000 for the Coloreel unit. It's over top of each individual head. So if you have a 6-head machine, you need 6 of them.
Right.
But again, it's from an ROI perspective, you're purchasing it to have the leg up on the technology.
Not to mention the not having to have as much thread around.
And the threads, the savings of inventory. And again, you can dial it in and say, I need this particular red, and it doesn't matter if customer called and gave me 10 minutes notice, I can have that color dialed in and running. I don't have to order it. I don't have to wait till the next day to get a rush shipment in of thread.
So how close is it to the Pantone colors, for example?
It's within the CMYK gamut. I mean, you
Right.
can hit the majority of colors. I mean, there's some obviously that
Pepsi Blue
could be
you
a
can't
little,
hit, maybe, right?
little challenging
Right,
with CMYK, but
Right.
I mean, it's part of. When you think of it, you have millions of colors available within the CMYK process, and even with the thread manufacturers, you have 400 to 600 different colors. So you're getting millions of extra colors of choice. The thread is a Madeira recycled uncoated poly.
Amazing.
So it's actually in partnership with the thread manufacturers.
No, so it's not a special thread. It's made
not
by
a special
Madeira.
thread. It's made by Madeira.
Oh, wow.
Madeira embraces it, so it's not that. There's
So you
no
don't need a new
panic.
supplier.
Right. There's no panic that it's going to replace
right.
the existing process.
All right, I think open it up to questions if there are any. Any questions? Lots of questions.
All
All right,
right.
bring it on. Here, if you ask it, I'll repeat it so everyone can hear it. Will it retrofit on a Barrett and not just a Tajima?
It'll work on any machine. It's completely independent from the embroidery machine itself.
Great question.
There's a stitch sensor that's tied in just so you can ensure that you're on the accurate stitch, because it's important to stay synced up with the design.
Wow, good question. Another question? So the question is, the white thread goes in, gets dyed, colorized, and then dried, and then comes out ready for however many stitches it is.
Yes, it's reading the stitch data and dyeing the thread according to the stitch data on demand. So it's not pre-dyeing a certain amount. I mean, it's dyeing it as part of the inline production process.
What if you have a thread break?
Well, then you don't have a Tajima, I guess. So, so if there's a thread, let's say there's a thread break and you have to back up 5 or 10 stitches, you look at the stitch count on the machine, and if you're at stitch 457, you go to Coloreel and you program, I want it 457, and then it tells you to pull some thread through until you reach that exact stitch, and then you start again.
Wow. You have a question over here?
That was.
Oh, that was the question. Okay. How color fast is it?
It's dyeing it. It's a chemical process that puts it into the fiber of the thread. It is color fast. There's Coloreel and Hirsch has done extensive wash testing, bleach testing. We've run it through the gamut, and we haven't seen any different type of behavior different from a normal cone of dyed thread.
I mean, the sublimation is such a kind of a miracle thing that it really goes into the fiber. So I can't imagine it's not on the fiber, so it can't really, nothing can happen. Is there a heating element? Because sublimation normally needs heat.
There is a heating element. It almost looks like a curling iron in there, where it has two sides that the thread passes through, and it's dried as it's coming out. Now, when you think of a strand of thread, there's so little ink being applied there that it's pretty easy to dry it. You're not saturating and soaking this thing. It just has to get into the fiber of the thread that started out, and that's why it's an uncoated thread to begin with, and it is environmentally friendly. It's a recycled thread, and the amount of wastewater from the dyeing process that's eliminated is staggering.
Other questions? Yeah, go ahead, please. It comes with the software.
Yes, yes. There's a colorizing software you can digitize in whatever digitizing system you're using. Pulse Tajima software is worked with automating it so that somebody could actually go online and design something, and then the software applies the color automatically to it. But it's a free software that comes with it where you digitize in whatever software you're using and then run it through the colorizing process and then send it to the machine. So one file gets sent to the Coloreel unit and another file gets sent to your embroidery machine.
You have any sense of how many of like good digitizers that are out there that are independent have now some experience?
Well, that's a good question as well. So from a digitizing perspective, just like with anything, the magic, the success is a huge part of it is the digitizing process. So having a digitizer that knows and understands the Coloreel product gives you a huge leg up. Coloreel has about anywhere between 6 and 10 endorsed digitizers, and in order to be an endorsed digitizer, they have to have one or more Coloreel units so that they can actually do the in-house verification of the design before they send it to you.
So you have that list people could
Yes,
access.
it's on our website, on Coloreel's website, etc.
All right. Other questions?
So the question is, how
Repeat.
often does the ink need replaced? It's like any process. The more you use it, the more it needs replaced. But it's sold as cartridges, so it's a CMYK cartridge, and you would just pull out the cartridge and put the new one in. With any luck, you're replacing it all the time, which means you're very busy. But you can, on average, you get about. It's hard to say like a quantity of garments but on an average stitch count of, let's say, 8,000 stitches, if you're running it 5 to 7 hours a day, you're replacing threads, the cartridges, on about a 6-week basis. So it's not something that you're okay. I just ran 8 hours of production and I have to.
Is it
It is
self-cleaning?
self-cleaning. It has washing fluid, and the heads are cleaned and maintained. The good news is there's no white ink, so there's no recirculating issues or things like that. It's a very easy process.
No white ink. Love it. And what do the cartridges cost, if I might ask?
Cartridges are about $150 for each color. Cost-wise, if you were to compare pure cost, you're more expensive, 30 to 40% more for the Coloreel process than buying the standard cone of thread. But you gain the efficiencies of not having to go and pull thread from the shelf and tie it and pull it through. The efficiency from saving on trims and saving on color changes and things like that. We mentioned at the beginning, you'll still have trims when you want to trim. In other words, between characters and things like that, but you won't have trims due to a color change itself. So for example, this camel pattern and the pattern above it, again, it was all just with the single color of thread. And when you look at the back side of it, and you see two or three little cuts. That's it. And again, it's because the machine trimmed. It wasn't because it stopped for a color change.
Other questions? Is it 40 weight?
Yes, it's a standard 40 weight thread, and I believe that there's a matte finish that is being worked on as well, so you'll have two different sheens available. But right now we're offering it in just the standard sheen. And while there's a lot of proprietary technology built into it, we have no problem opening the hood and showing you the process. You can actually see the ink being applied and see it going through the drying and getting lubricated. We're happy to open the hood up and let you see it in action.
So what's the maintenance kind of schedule? What kind of maintenance do you have to do on it?
Basically, it does it itself. It'll do auto cleanings. Every hour, I think it just does a quick and easy little cleaning. Make sure the print heads are nice and clean. From a maintenance perspective, there's a waste tank where the cleaning solution and any purging goes in, and the ink tank is replaceable. You just, when it's full, you take it. It's fully self-contained, which means that and there's no open liquid, so that means it can just be disposed of and a new one put in. So there's nothing that you're pouring down a drain.
Other questions? Ed will be, his booth is literally right in
Right
front.
at the front door. Can't
So
miss
if you
it.
have
Booth
more
501.
questions,
Come see it in action.
Yeah, also really you want to see this thing. It's really unbelievable. I'm not big on like just coming up here and promoting things, but this is really unique technology, and it's really kind of a game changer to do things that really there's no other way to do. So
Right.
how about a hand for Ed?
Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Los Angeles Apparel and Alpha Broder, Stalls, Transfer Express, LAT Apparel, Howard, Lane 7, and of course Hirsch for supporting this. That's why we have free information. Check out our YouTube channel, inkitchen.com. All right, thanks.